Alrighty, everybody, it is currently Saturday, November 29th, 2025, and I'm coming at you live from the bathroom floor because that's where I was about 5 to 10 minutes ago at this point. I tried I tried recording, wasn't really feeling it, throwing us in. I'm not really feeling it anymore now, but fuck it. We gotta do it. We gotta get it done. So yeah, I was just on the floor of the bathroom. I wasn't throwing up, I was shitting, and it was a tough one. It's Saturday. I haven't really shit since Wednesday. Um, so I went Thanksgiving and then Friday, which Friday's just Thanksgiving 2.0. I went both of those days, holding it all in, keeping it all inside of me, and let me tell you, it did not feel good. It really, my abs are cramping right now. If you really want to know the truth about the situation I just went through, my abs are cramping. To be fair, I don't have the strongest midsection ever, but it is not feeling great there. It's feeling better than it was. You know what I mean? Like being sore, it feels better than when you're working out and your muscles are tired. That's and this was a workout, dude. I don't think I'm gonna have to do crunches or fucking Russian twists or whatever for the next year because of the ab workout that I just experienced, the intense ab blasting workout that I just experienced in there. It was it was a battle. I was trudging through the mud. It was D-Day, and my hand got blown off by a German grenade or whatever, and I was pushing up towards that beach trying to get to a bunker. That's what that experience was. Truly, it was a battle. I was doing everything I could to get this out of me. I was doing jumping jacks. I was like laying on the floor, dude. I busted out the Kumasacha or whatever it's called and started doing yoga. It was tough. It was a battle to get all that up out of me, but now that it's up out of me, I feel a whole lot better. I feel significantly better. Not more energized. I would say I did use up all my energy, so this probably isn't going to be the best episode. The best episode for me. None of the episodes are good, but this one is probably not going to be as good just because I have zero energy left in me after that one. And I did sleep like shit last night. Um but I did get home and I took like a nice little nap, but I still don't feel great, dude. I don't feel great at all. My body's just not used to eating that quantity of food, you know? Usually I try to keep it under 2,000 calories a day, usually around 1,500, and that's nothing, dude. It really is not that many calories. 1,500 or 2,000 or whatever. Like I think the USDA like average recommended amount of calories is 2,500, and even that feels low, which makes the fact that we have an obesity epidemic even more insane. The fact that 2,500 calories feels a little bit low to me, and I'm not like a big guy. I'm like short and I don't weigh that much. Uh, and even on like 2,500, that's not a whole lot. So people must be eating an average of 6,000 calories a day. To get to like 300 pounds, you have to be eating 5,000 plus calories a day, which is, and 300 pounds is low, dude. 300 pounds in Midwest America in the year 2025 is you're doing good. If you're keeping it under 4 bills, people are like, God damn, dude. What are you on Ozempics right now? You taking the Ozempics? What are you putting in your body? You weigh less than 400? It's crazy. I don't know how people eat that much food. Like even Thanksgiving, I was maybe putting up a 4,000 calorie performance, and I mean we saw the result of that. We saw what happened from a 4,000 calorie performance, and that was like that was fully I could not move after eating that. I ate it, and my brother's kids were over and stuff, and so I had to play with them. And then immediately after they left, I stripped down to my underwear and just spread eagle on my bed and just looked up to the Lord, like, please help me. And I'm saying 4,000 calories. That's a very high estimate. We're maybe 3,500, 3,000 is probably the more realistic, conservative estimate of how many I ate. And I was still bloated beyond belief, unable to move. I was full on. I was a Harkonnen, dude. I fully became. I've never seen Dune before. I've only seen clips on TikTok, but is there like a big old dude who like sits in a bath all day? I was fully that guy. I was fully that big fat dude, just laying in my bed, being like, when is it gonna be over? Um, and I didn't like when you're that full, you don't sleep good. Like there's a certain amount of food that you eat to like have a good night's rest, right? It's a pretty big range of food that you can eat to have a good night's rest, but this was way too much. I don't think I entered any of the stages of sleep you're supposed to enter. My eyes just might have been closed for 8 hours. That might have just been what it was. I don't think I actually slept on Thanksgiving night. I think I just laid there like a whale on a beach, dude. Just like, please, put me back in the ocean or kill me. I can't. I can't keep staying here. But it was a good Thanksgiving. You know, had a nice baked turkey. Didn't deep fry that shit. I want to do that one of these years. I do want to deep fry a turkey, just to just to see how dumb these people really are. Because everything I see about deep frying turkeys, like on the internet or whatever, all the comments are like, "This is just people being retarded." Right? This is just people being fucking stupid as shit. Like apparently deep frying a turkey isn't that dangerous. Apparently most of these people that like get injured from deep frying a turkey, which goddamn dude, just saying that sentence makes me want to vote for Donald Trump again, dude. Or I guess not again. I never voted for Trump or anyone else, but it makes me want to vote for Trump. Um but like the people that like get injured from it, apparently they're just putting like essentially a block of ice in like boiling hot oil, and that's why they're getting injured. They just don't know how deep frying stuff works, and so, so they're getting like third degree burns all over their bodies. Allegedly, I don't know. Maybe these people, y- the internet does have an expert issue. Everyone on the internet is an expert on everything. And look, hey, I get it. The pot's calling the kettle real black in this situation, dude. uh, but there are a lot of experts on the internet. So I guarantee you probably half those people that were commenting that have never deep fried a turkey before. They just watched like one YouTube tutorial or looked at like the Google AI overview of of how to deep fry a turkey. They were like, these people are fucking idiots. But I do feel like they are fucking idiots. Because you see some of like the videos, like the deep frying turkey fail videos, and anyone that's ever fried anything before, yeah, you can splash a little bit of oil on you if you fuck it up real bad. But these people are creating mushroom clouds in like suburban neighborhoods in the middle of Ohio or whatever, trying to deep fry turkeys. It's they're just fucking up so horribly, so bad. That is a good genre to watch on YouTube. Cooking fails. I don't get how people are so bad at cooking. Like you just have like some of the shit you see is like I don't think you've seen a kitchen. I don't think you've ever lived in a building with a kitchen before, right? Not even a house with a kitchen. I don't think you've been within 100 feet of a kitchen. Like some of the things these people are whipping up, it's incredible, and just the way they fail constantly, horribly, epically. It's I don't get it, right? Especially because like half of these cooking fail videos is people making like hot pockets and shit, like frozen food, and they're still fucking it up so badly, and it's like it's recorded, right? Like if you were like I don't know, if you were a dude from fucking Zimbabwe or something who was just used to munching on caterpillars and shit, and you came over to America and you didn't know how to cook, all right, you might get a little bit of grace from me in that situation. But like these people are recording themselves cooking. They have the mental cognitive ability to use a phone. They're like, but just refusing to look up a recipe or a YouTube tutorial. I just watched a 30-second video on TikTok and they did like the double speed thing through the whole thing. They were like, all right, I know how to cook a hot pocket now. And then their microwave just disintegrates, just explodes into a million pieces, making IEDs type shit, you know? Um, but hot pockets low key are an IED. A lot of frozen food does have an IED feeling about it. Like I've been reheating Thanksgiving leftovers, and it sounds like Iraq out there, dude. I don't know how it's popping so much. and it's not getting any warmer. You're just you're just hearing like the turkey and the green bean casserole in the microwave, and it's just like pop, 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 and then you take it out, and it's ice cold. It's just fucking dancing and dancing and jiving in there, and not getting warm at all. Just having a fun little experience in the microwave. But people they're turning against microwaves again. I've seen a few videos on the internet of people like being like, I got rid of my microwave and this is how I reheat food now. And it's like, I get eating healthy and all that stuff and like trying to avoid carcinogenic things like alcohol and nicotine and stuff like that. I get that. But at a certain point, you got to accept the reality of the situation you live in, dude. You if you go out to a restaurant that's not like a five-star restaurant, you're getting microwaved food. Like everything at every restaurant is microwaved. Like 90% of it. It all comes from that company Cisco, SYSCO, like the people who make like school lunches and stuff like that. They provide food to like like Chili's, Texas Roadhouse, like all of those guys get their food from Cisco or like a lot of their food. So if you're eating a burger at fucking Texas Roadhouse, dude, that shit was in the microwave not 5 seconds ago, and they just sprinkled some MSG on there, threw it on the plate, and said that fucking pig will eat it, dude. That pig will eat this goddamn microwave burger. Um, but yeah, it's you're not gonna avoid the microwaves or like the EMFs or whatever, the electromagnetic frequencies, and it's like once again, this is like a classic case of like people not knowing the words that they're saying. They're like electromagnetic frequency. It's like, dude, that's the reason this planet exists. This planet exists because it has electromagnetic frequencies and shit like that. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure like that Earth is just one big ball of electromagnetic frequencies, and that's why we're not all tumor-ridden fucking beasts just pulling ourselves on the ground. Because it's like the EMF field around the Earth prevents like the radiation or some shit from. I don't fucking know how it works, dude. But the EMFs are everywhere. You know, even if it wasn't coming from the Earth itself, we got fucking 5G towers everywhere, frying our brains, making us fucking love Bill Gates and Israel and all that stuff. You're getting the EMFs no matter what. And the food, I mean, fucking forget about it at this point, dude. Forget about avoiding bad things in your food if you live in America. If you're eating anything that's prepackaged, including like protein powder, you're getting something in there. You're getting there's something in there. Even if you're like raising the food yourself, you're still getting like remnants of jet fuel and fucking uranium from the nuclear tests and shit like that. So you're getting it no matter what. Um, you could raise a cow yourself and cook it over a fire, and there's still gonna be microplastics in there. You're getting it. It's coming for you, dude. It's coming for you. You know, it's coming for everybody. But like I said, dude, that shit took a lot of energy out of me. I am I am dead right now, dude. I might have to take another nap. This might be a two nap type of day. Ooh, oh Lord, it wiped the floor with me. Literally, it literally wiped the fucking floor with me. Um, but goddamn, dude, my brain is so fucking dead right now. I'm gonna stop and then I don't know, see if I can do something to wake myself up a little bit. Cause holy. All right, I just grabbed a sip of water, stepped outside into the cold real quick, and I'm not feeling not feeling any different at all. But hey, like I said, you just gotta push through it and keep on keeping on until you get the job done. All right. This episode probably isn't going to be great, but the episode I have planned for the regular episode might be one of the best ones yet. It's pretty fire. I did a whole it's going to be different, but it'll probably be pretty good. It's a little more of a story type of thing, you know. Did a whole narrative and all that stuff, but yeah. I guess I am also a little bit hungover right now technically. I haven't drunk in over a year, but the boys were back in town, so we had to do it. All right, like people that are like, I'll never drink in my entire life. It's like I can kind of get that if you've been like severely addicted to other drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. or if you have like family that's been severely addicted, but people that are just like, especially people that'll do it for like health reasons, they're like, I'll never even have a sip of wine in my entire life because I need to have a six pack always. It's like, one, it's not going to affect your health that much, dude. If you, if drinking one time is what kills you, then you just got to hang up the cleats. All right. You just got to accept the fact that you're going to die pretty soon. Um, but I was also on the floor, the bathroom floor last night for that one as well. It's I had the cut waters, which probably have like an insane amount of sugar in them, so you don't taste any of the alcohol. A little bit of a buzzball, and also, and this is probably what did me in. It was Evan Williams eggnog. Yeah, like Evan Williams, the people who make the bourbon or whatever. It was their eggnog, and it was $10 at the liquor store, and it was when I drank it, like my friends were all smelling it and they were like, that smells like shit. When I was drinking it, I couldn't smell anything at that point. Um, but it tasted horrible. And it probably had, it's eggnog, so it probably has like 20,000 fucking calories. It's like fat and sugar and alcohol. I should have known it was gonna fucking destroy my body, but I didn't. I didn't prepare properly for that situation, and it was that bad, dude. It was so strong. It was the amount of alcohol I tasted, in spite of the fact that it was just fat and sugar, probably means it was like 90% alcohol. And I drank that, and I was feeling fine at that point. I was feeling a little bit woozy, but I was just like, fuck it, we ball. And so we went downstairs, played a little bit of NCAA '08, I believe, the basketball game. And then I passed out on the floor, not like blackout drunk or whatever. I just was tired. It was like 1 in the morning or whatever. And so I fell asleep on the floor, and then I woke up at about 2:30 in the morning, just head spinning like a motherfucker. I was like, I was like trying to convince myself if I could do math in my head, then I wasn't like that fucked up, or like that I wasn't gonna throw up or whatever. And I was trying to do math in my head, and it was making me more nauseous. And so I was like, fuck it. We gotta go to the bathroom. And I kneeled in front of the porcelain throne for a little bit, just being like, please don't, just get this out of me, and let's just get this over with. And it wouldn't. I had to pull trig again, dude. Second time pulling trig in my life, and it's within like a 2 month span of the last time or of the first time that I had to pull trig. And yeah, that was another tough one. And just like the shit, I was laying on the floor being like, I'm just gonna be nauseous all night. And then I was like, no, dude, I was fucking Rocky. I got up off the canvas. I stuck my fingers down the back of my throat, and I threw up green bean casserole and fucking eggnog and all that shit. And I was fine afterwards. I was completely, I was completely fine. This is, we got to do some science about throwing up, dude, because like no matter when I throw up, I always feel better afterwards. Like 1,000 times better. And sometimes it's like, even when I'm sick, I feel 1,000 times better. And it could just be like, probably if I went and threw up in the bathroom right now and came back and kept on recording, I'd have so much more energy. It's the original medicine, dude. We gotta we gotta figure that out. You know what I mean? I understand the stigma around making yourself throw up, you know what I mean? The whole bulimia shit and all that stuff. But I do think it is a pretty magical medicine, you know? I think we gotta study it, dude. Take away the stigma and study it. Why do I feel so much better now? Why do I feel so much better after getting everything out of my body? And that probably just goes to show you how like shitty the food is in America. How shitty the food is here, where it's like getting it out of your system in any way, shape, or form makes you feel so much better. Makes you feel 1,000 times better. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Throwing up is funny. Haha, I love puking. God, I just feel so tired right now. I don't know. Maybe it's the hangover. Maybe it's I still have some shit left in my body that I got to get up out of here. But I am feeling real sleepy, dude. I'm feeling like Joe over here. Which, by the way, this isn't a news article or anything, but apparently Jill Biden, Joe's wife, was seen leaving a lingerie store in Nantucket, dude. Joe? Is Joe gonna be having a little bit of fun, dude? Sleepy's probably beating that shit up, dude. Joe's a beast. Trump got in trouble for sucking Bill Clinton's dick. Obama, clearly gay. George Bush Jr., retarded. And then there's just Biden, dude. Just a dementia ridden beast who is just straight as hell. The straightest dude of all time. So straight, maybe a little bit too straight, dude. If you know anything about some of the accusations, some of the allegations against Sleepy Joe, he might have been a little bit too straight. He might have loved pussy a little bit too much, but he's a beast, dude. It's I didn't know what we had until he was gone. I always appreciated him when he was there. Fucking hilarious. Just everything he did was always the funniest thing on earth. Um, but now that he's gone, I miss him so much more, dude. I miss Sleeps every single day. Because Trump is funny. Trump is funny, but there's something malicious about Trump. Biden was just like this dumb, retarded guy who should have been in like a nursing home or whatever, or just put down like a dog. Just let him out in the woods and let him die of whatever he's got. Um, as the president, that's who Joe Biden was, and he was so fun, so full of jolly and whimsy, always eating ice cream and stuff like that. Like, they should have stuck one of those propeller hats on Sleepy Joe. That's just the type of dude he was. Make it up the most ridiculous story you've ever heard in your entire life about a guy named Corn Pop at the local public pool, munching on some chocolate chip, having a grand old time. You know, going up on stage, making up complete nonsense, forgetting how to read in the middle of a speech, just like pausing and staring at the audience and then going, "Come on, come on." It was beautiful. And like I said, Trump is funny, but Joe's like a little kid, dude. Like, when little kids just say shit, it's funnier than when like an adult says it. There's something entertaining about that innocence. There's something beautiful about it. And I really appreciate that about Joe. A lot of people are like, well, I voted for Joe Biden just because he was better than Trump. I voted for Joe Biden because of his innocent, whimsical attitude towards life. All right? Now, has he always been, like I said, he hasn't always been innocent and whimsical. But when he got that dementia, dude, he became just a straight up jolly fool, you know? And it was a nice little break. It was a nice little break from everything. Just having a guy who was immune to like the political commentary and stuff like that. Just walking around, looking for a scoop of vanilla, munching on cones and stuff like that. It was nice to have him around. I miss him. I miss Sleepy Joe. Wish I could just chill with the guy every now or just watch him exist. Just watch him just watch him shuffle around his house looking for snacks to munch on. I wish I could, dude. And me and Sleepy Joe, we're probably at the same level of mental cognition right now. We're probably chilling at around the same level. God, I was so like ready to record before this. I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go, let's do this." And then my stomach started telling me it was time. So I was like, "All right, I'll go handle business real quick. I'll go get this shit done. I handle big business." And the business handled me. Business handled me. This is probably gonna be only like a 45-minute episode, just because of how shockingly mentally tired I am. Physically, I'm also very tired physically, dude. Like when I went up to get my glass of water and let my dog out to take a shit, I like stood up and I like almost fell backwards. I almost fucking fell right on the back of my head. I almost had to pull the life alert pin real quick. I'm full sleeps right now, dude. I'm full Sleepy Joe. So this might be the greatest episode actually. Now that I'm fully in the headspace of the greatest president of the past 3 decades at least, this might be the greatest. Maybe the greatest president we've ever had, actually. You know, just uncontrollable. Just a monster going out there. He was the Brian Dawkins of being a president. He didn't care about having people like him. He didn't care about running the country well. He didn't care about, appeasing the donors and shit like that. He just wanted to fucking he just wanted to munch on ice cream. Like Brian Dawkins. Brian Dawkins just wanted to smack motherfuckers. And that's what Sleepy Joe was. Just wanted to go out there, spew nonsense, get home, take some fucking Adderall or whatever, then munch on some ice cream. It's all the guy wanted to do. And we destroyed it. We destroyed his life. All right, fuck it. Let's get into some of the news articles we have for today. Like I said, this is probably only going to be like a 40-minute episode. I'm so goddamn tired. But this is from the BBC, and this is U.S. halts all asylum claim decisions after National Guard shooting. And this is written by Yang Tian and James Fitzgerald. So, the Trump administration has halted all asylum decisions following the shooting of two National Guard soldiers in Washington, D.C. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services director has said. Yeah, two people got shot by some dude. And this is, I've said this before, but just the shooters need to step their game up. It's like you get two. That's the best you could do. You could get two. I don't know. I feel like I could clear at least 10 in any given situation. If I had the drop like these guys have the drop, I could get 10. Maybe not 10 kills, but I feel like I could get at least 10 people shot if it really came down to it, you know? And these guys are getting like 2, 3, you know? And I get now the game has evolved a little bit. The game has gotten a little bit harder, but it's still elementary schoolers and stuff, right? It's still like drunk people in a crowd in fucking Nashville or whatever, right? That's still the audience you're going after. I get that, there's more security and stuff like that. There's more people know like the protocol of how to handle these situations, but still, it hasn't evolved that much. I still feel like there's some opportunity that these people aren't taking. But let's read a little bit more about this. So, Joseph Edlow said the pause would be in place until we can ensure that every alien is vetted and screened to the maximum degree possible. Yeah, I just kind of agree with that. I don't know. I don't have anything funny to say about that other than why weren't we doing that the entire time? Why weren't we making sure the people coming into our country from fucking war-torn Africa or whatever were good people? And this is I just don't get why people are like, we need to have 1 million Somalians in this country. Because it's like, would you go to Somalia? No. Why wouldn't you go to Somalia? Because I'm scared of someone killing me. Right? You're scared of the people in Somalia. So then why the fuck would you bring the people that you're scared of here? Why would you try to turn it into that place? Because the reason Somalia sucks, there's a lot of reasons that Somalia sucks, but part of it is the people there are just fucking crazy. Right? Like Somalia just had like that whole big thing where they raised the age of marriage to 18 years old, and there was like nationwide protests. There was full on, it was Greg Floyd over there. They were burning down auto zones, except they don't have auto zones in Somalia, so they were burning down like tin shacks or whatever buildings they have over there in Somalia. But yeah, we should have been doing that the entire time is my point. We should have been making sure the dudes coming in from a warlord controlled region of Afghanistan were solid dudes before we let them in. That's Somalia and a lot of these countries, really every country in my opinion, but I get, some people are racist and they're like all white people are good or whatever. But to me, I don't like any other country, really. I think America's number one, always will be number one. America fucking rules. And so I think we should just do this for all countries. It's like, why? But if we aren't doing it for all countries, we should probably do it for the ones that are like, where the age of consent is 8 years old and there's constant warfare going on. We should probably double check the guys coming in from those countries. My opinion, double check everyone except the Mexicans. Mexicans are chill. We can let as many of those guys in as we want. But in Mexicans, not Venezuelans, not Hondurans or whatever, Mexicans. Okay? We can let all those boys in, but the fucking, yeah. If you're coming from a country where beheadings are an everyday occurrence, we should be making sure that you aren't, one of the people that would do the beheadings. We should double check that, I think. So it came hours after, this is from the article, it came hours after U.S. President Donald Trump pledged to permanently pause migration from all third world countries. The flurry of immigration decisions come in the wake of Wednesday's shooting, which left one soldier dead and another in critical condition, and which officials have accused an Afghan national of perpetrating. Yeah, Afghanistan, pretty sick country. I did that episode about guerrilla warfare, and we talked a little bit about the Mujahideen. I fuck with Afghanistan. Afghanistan has some sick history to it. I don't want them here though. That's the thing. I could appreciate Afghanistan and the culture and the history and all that stuff, and also be like, but I don't want to live next to one of them, right? I don't want to live next to the people who have been engaged in perpetual warfare for 1,000 years, and that's like part of the reason why a country like Afghanistan is just it's doomed, because Afghanistan is in this like perfect nexus point of like communism and like East Asian philosophy and like Middle Eastern. It's just like a perfect place for wars to happen. That's like just the kind of the geographical truth about Afghanistan, and they've been able to hold on so long for a reason. But and the reason is the motherfuckers know how to fight. When shit gets active like that, you want an Afghani on your side. But but if you're just like working in an accounting office or whatever, yeah, you don't want them in the accounting office. You know what I mean? You don't want them there. Not like it's not like a genetic thing, just like the culture of the country and the history of it and all that stuff. Like if we're gonna take people from Afghanistan, I say we keep it 8 and under, which ironically 8 and under is the marriage age for all women in Afghanistan. But we gotta no, pausing immigration from Afghanistan. I do disagree with that. I think they should just outright ban it. It's crazy over there, and like we cannot comprehend it. You cannot comprehend how fucked up Afghanistan is. The culture, just like the life those people live, you cannot understand how fucked up the situation is in Afghanistan. Like people look at like West Virginia or whatever, or like inner city Chicago, and they're like, "Oh my god, those people." How is this happening? How is this happening in our country? Those people, they live the worst life possible. And it's like, dude, that's not even close. Like, imagine O Block, but an entire country, and also it's filled with hardcore religious fanatics. And that doesn't even begin to describe how insane and just fucked up Afghanistan is. It's crazy. And I understand the people that have a ton of sympathy for him. Like, I feel bad for the guys, I feel bad for a dude who gets stuck in the bottom of a cave somewhere. But I'm not going to go down in that cave and pull his ass out, dude, because I don't want to die too. I don't want to become Afghanistan too. Um, and once again, you can blame these issues on whoever you want. Like, that's not something that I care that much about. Like people, it's like a big issue, like critical race theory and stuff like that. Like blaming colonialism or communism. You can blame the issue on whoever you want. You can blame the fact that Afghanistan is fucked up on whoever you want. I don't really care. But the truth of the situation is it's fucked up. The people there do not understand our way of life. They just don't, right? They can't. Just like we can't understand their way of life, they can't understand ours. And that's not good. You don't want someone who can't even comprehend the structure of society to be coming into your society, because they don't fucking understand it. They're like, this person's allowed to yell at me. A woman yelling at me, I should just chop this fucking bitch's head off. Like that's kind of what someone from Afghanistan thinks. They're like, these people are allowed to say whatever they want. They can criticize Muhammad, shit like that. And this isn't. I don't want to turn this into like an anti-Islam episode or whatever, but it's the truth. They just can't. They can't understand the way our society's set up and stuff. Maybe if they're young, they can learn to understand it, but it's just it. You're taking a fish out of water, you know. That's kind of what you're doing when you drop someone from Afghanistan here. Or when they come here willingly. You're taking a fish out of water and you're dropping them here. And they're not coming here for like the freedom or whatever. They don't care about that shit. They don't care about the morals of the United States or democracy or any of that shit. They don't care about that. They're coming here so that they don't die. Like that's the reason that and that's a good reason to come here, but it's it's not um it's not conducive to building a well-functioning safe society, I'll say. But let's read a little bit more about this. So, while the first of these specifically targeted Afghans seeking to enter the US, other decisions have been far more wide-reaching. Okay. So they were talking about the ban on migrants from third world countries. So the USCIS, a branch of the Department of Homeland Security, has been told not to approve, deny, or close asylum applications it receives for all nationals, according to CBS News, the BBC's U.S. partner. Its officers can continue to work on asylum applications and review cases up to the point of making a decision. Okay, well, that's actually pretty fair. Just being like, hey, we can't let anyone in, but you can see what's going on there. And I just don't understand like an asylum application from Afghanistan at all. These people don't have fucking IDs and shit like that. There's they don't have paperwork over there. The paperwork in Afghanistan is like a scroll that's written in a language like four people in this country understand. They don't have It's not like if I was trying to go to Canada and I had a felony on my record over here, there's no way to tell, like, if these people have a criminal history or whatever. If a guy's coming from Afghanistan, the application can just be like, please let me in. I love America, USA #1. Like, that's kind of the most they can do. They can't, there's really nothing else that someone from Afghanistan can do to prove that they're like a good person that should be let into this country. Because, like I said, they don't have a government. They've had like 20 different governments in the past fucking week, dude. They don't have like the paperwork to prove or disprove that they're criminals or whatever. And it's sad, but I don't want them here. uh, all right, all right. So third world countries. This is Get ready for some real lib lecturing here from the BBC. So this section of the article is called Third World Countries. So Trump blamed refugees for causing the social dysfunction in America and vowed to remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States. Hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia were completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota, he said. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover. The phrase third world is one previously used to describe poorer developing nations. This year, a travel ban was imposed on nationals primarily from 11 African and Asian Middle Eastern. No one's being like, you're from Cambodia. Fucking everyone knows how fucked up Cambodia is. No, they're talking about the Middle East when they talk about Asia, including Afghanistan. During Trump's first term, he enacted a travel ban targeting multiple Muslim majority countries. And this is going back to the whole, I don't care about what causes this. I don't care that these countries are majority Muslim. I don't. I don't care that Afghanistan or Somalia or whatever is a majority Muslim country. If they were a majority Christian and the people there were acting the way they were, I wouldn't want them here either. You know? So, and people want to blame it on Islamophobia, and maybe some people really do just hate all Muslims or whatever. I'm not the biggest fan of the religion, but I don't just hate someone for being a Muslim. But I don't care. I don't care that people think this is religious persecution or whatever. This isn't religious persecution. There are plenty of Muslim countries that we let people in from. God damn, dude, my brain isn't working. And maybe it is religious persecution, but I don't know. Why do all those countries suck so bad? Hey, hey. All right, that's the end of that article. This next article is from the VaticanNews.va, which I guess this is like the official Catholic newspaper. Apparently they have podcasts and shit. That's sick, dude. All right. So this is Pope Leo and Patriarch Bartholomew reject violence in the name of God. Pope Leo the 14th and Ecumsenial, Ecumsenial Patriarch Bartholomew the First signed a joint declaration in Istanbul reaffirming their commitment to the path toward full communion and forcefully rejecting any use of religion to justify violence. See, we'll read a little bit more about this, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this because a lot of morality comes from religion, right? A lot of people's moral compasses and moral structures come from the religion they follow. And so it's like it a lot of people will use morality to justify violence, but if you think about it, for billions of people on this planet, morality is kind of just an extension of religion in a lot of ways. So, but I wonder, I don't know what he said at all. So, on the third day of his apostolic visit to Turkey, Pope Leo the 14th traveled to the Patriarchal Church of St. George in Istanbul, where he joined the Patriarch Bartholomew the First for the solemn recitation of the doxology and the signing of a joint declaration that reaffirms their shared commitment to the path toward full restored communion and their united rejection of any appeal to religion to legitimize violence. The goal of Christian unity, the Declaration states, includes the objective of contributing in a fundamental and life-giving manner to peace among all peoples. Together we fervently raise our voices in invoking God's gift of peace upon our world. Nothing that tragically in many regions of our world, conflict and violence continue to destroy the lives of so many. The Pope and Patriarch issued an appeal to those who have civil and political responsibilities to do everything possible to ensure that the tragedy of war ceases immediately, and we ask all people of goodwill to support our entreaty. The the people who are causing the wars and stuff like that and the genocides, I hate to say it, they're not Catholics. These guys aren't going to church and eating communion. You know what I mean? They're not. And I get it. The Pope is like a figurehead really nowadays. He doesn't have any real power, and he knows that. And he's just there to like be a good face for the Catholic Church, right? That's kind of the Pope's job at this point. Yeah, he has a lot of power over the church, but he has no power beyond that. You know, it's not 1482 anymore. He can't declare that Spain gets half the world and Portugal gets the other half of the world. He's mostly just a figurehead. But I don't know. I just think this is a little bit preachy, which I guess he's the Pope, so he kind of is a preacher. But it's just like, yeah, you guys shouldn't be violent based on religion anymore. And it's just, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot when the Catholics were fucking. To be fair, the Catholics were getting a little bit active there for a minute. The Catholics were blowing some stuff up. The IRA in like the 1980s and 90s and 70s and all that stuff. They were getting active there for a minute. But nowadays, it's not them doing it. You know what I mean? The Catholics aren't taking people hostage and fucking beheading them live on video. It ain't the Catholics doing that. The Catholics ain't going village to village in Nigeria killing everybody. It wasn't them. It wasn't the Catholics doing that one. Like I said, hey, 30 years ago or 40 years ago, I would have kind of got this one, but it ain't the Catholics anymore. It ain't the Catholics, Leo. It's somebody else that's doing all that stuff. So the encounter between the two leaders took place on the eve of the Feast of St. Andrew, the first called apostle and the patron of the, it's fucking whatever, the patriarch. So opening their declaration with the words of psalmist, "Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever," the Pope and Patriarch express gratitude for the grace of a fraternal meeting rooted in ecclesial charity and fidelity to the will of Christ. So is this, they have a picture of this guy here, and he looks Orthodox. So this might have been, Pope Leo might be trying to create a super team here. That might be what this is. The first I'll look to see if this guy's Orthodox because that's kind of what it seems like to me. Pope Leo's trying to create a super team of Christians here. He's gonna order a crusade against the megachurch. Yeah. Okay, so ecumenism, that's the idea that religions should come together, or different branches of Christianity should come together. Yet, so yeah, Pope Leo's trying to create a Christian super team to destroy the megachurches, dude. I should never have doubted the boy. I was making fun of him. I was calling him a bit of a lib there for a second. But no, he's trying to create a super team, trying to bring the Orthodox and the Catholic Church back together. Yeah, this is 1,000-year-old rift, by the way, between the Catholic and the Orthodox Church. That's hilarious. If he pulls this off, dude, if Pope Leo pulls this off, there needs to be like an NFL or an NBA team or something like that that hires him. If he can reunite the old Orthodox churches with the Catholic Church, that he could create a super team of unimaginable levels. That's sick as fuck. So, and this is our final article. This is from CBS News. So, Denver apartment complex manager experiences apocalyptic situation with state voucher tenants. So, I assume a state voucher tenant is like the state's saying that they're going to pay for the building or whatever, or not the building for the rent. Um, but I don't know. Maybe it'll say in here. So the people running a family-owned apartment complex in Congress Hill slash Capitol Hill or Congress Park slash Capitol Hill are hoping to shed light on an issue impacting their business and their lives. They believe they aren't the only property owners facing the same story. It was a shocking scene inside one of the Denver apartments. Drug paraphernalia, feces, and garbage. Christina Einstein, goddamn this, or Eisenstein, invited CBS News Colorado to the newly vacated unit. Yeah, the fact that anyone is shocked about this is kind of crazy to me. It's like if you're not paying for it, you don't really give a shit. You don't care as much about like it's like the same when you're a kid, right? And you're like, why is my fucking dad getting mad at me for leaving the light on or whatever? And then you start paying bills, and you're like, fuck it, I'd be getting mad too. You know, you don't care as much about something when you're not the one who's paying for it. So you're just not going to take as good care of it because it's like you're not losing any money, right? It's not like they're going to lose their fucking security deposit or whatever. So they don't really, and not everybody, right? But for the most part, people are going to care less about things that they get for free. Um, so yeah, this isn't shocking at all, but let's read a little bit more. So her mother-in-law owns the apartment complex called the White Swan at 1300s Adams Street. She took over managing the property back in September and a few weeks later reached out to CBS Colorado for help. It's an apocalyptic situation for my family, says Eisenstein. She's highlighting what she calls a costly journey with tenants placed by the Community Economic Defense Project. God, just that name alone tells me that there's some blue-haired lady out there who's like, who cares if he's addicted to fentanyl? You should be nice to him. You should let him keep doing fentanyl, okay? You don't know what he's been through. Just like the name of that charity tells me that. So, the previous property management company allowed CEDP to place clients in 5 of the 18 units. Concerns of health and safety followed, which she says she presented to them. I would get emails from tenants describing the horrors that they have to endure as paying tenants, as taxpayers, as working citizens of Denver. I would hear about the horrors they had to endure. I would bring these actual emails from their email, not something I created, not something I invented in my head. The CEDP helps re-enters who receive vouchers from the state. The voucher programs help people who can't afford housing due to circumstances, including homeless, a disabling condition, and extremely low income. However, participants must meet certain requirements and follow lease rules. Yeah, but they're not gonna. You just gave them this shit. Right? It's like, why the fuck would I follow what incentive is there for me to follow the rules? I was homeless. I was fine with being homeless. I wasn't living in a shelter or whatever. I was just living on the streets. You came to me. You gave me an apartment. I'm clearly fine with being homeless and living on the street. So there's no incentive for me to follow the lease. It's not, I know I'm not going to go to jail for this shit. And even if I did, I wouldn't care that much. These people, they just don't realize that. And and once again, I get it. It's sad. It's sad that these people have lived these horrific lives and are victims of all of these things. But the truth is they don't give a shit. They don't care about themselves or their lives anymore. And that fucking sucks. I wish everyone cared about their lives. I wish everyone cared about each other. But they don't, dude. Sometimes you just gotta throw people in the fucking garbage. Alright? Um, so Eisenstein said she expressed concerns to CEDP about several issues, including drug use, which violates the tenant's housing voucher contract. The economic defense just blew it off and said, "Oh, it's hearsay." Everyone knows homeless people don't do drugs. What are you talking about, bitch? You're out of your goddamn mind, dude. A homeless guy doing drugs? That never. What are you talking about? You're crazy, lady. That's what they're hitting her with. That's just that. That's that. I don't want to do paperwork response. That's just the fuck, man. That's what that response is. That response is, I don't want to have to tell my boss that another one of the dudes that I put in a fucking apartment is shooting up in his fucking dick vein or whatever. Right? That's what that is. Hearsay. They hit her with the Inquisition, the Salem witch trials response. That is hearsay. Slander. So the CEDP is one of 44 organizations that administers voucher programs in Colorado. The state says it pays CEDP an average of 36,000 per month in administrative fees. The CEDP is expected to act as a liaison between landlords or property managers and households to assist with conflict resolution. They declined an interview but provided CBS Colorado with this statement. As a nonprofit administering public programs, we prioritize health and safety, but we need timely verified information to assess. Oh my God. This is the classic. You've probably seen this meme before on like Instagram Reels or whatever, but it's like the meme format is like someone being like pedophilia is bad, and then it'll be like a picture of like some blue-haired lady being like, what's your source, what's your source for that? That's literally this situation in real life. This lady's being like, there's people, they're shooting fentanyl, there's shit all over the walls. Like, come down here and look at this. Literally drive your fat ass 15 minutes to this fucking building and look at what these people are doing. And they're like, no, I need a source. Do you have a peer-reviewed study saying there's shit smeared all over your walls? God damn. I'd be, I'd kill a motherfucker. That's crazy. Um, so, over the past 2 months, Christina Eisenstein has refused to promptly and formally document her allegations, making it impossible for our team to respond to her concerns. Programs that serve vulnerable Coloradans only work when everyone engages in good faith. That's the most bitchy goddamn response I've ever heard in my entire life. That's pissing me off just fucking reading it. I'd be like, okay, well, no one's ever gonna live here ever again, and I'm gonna tell everyone else I know to not fuck with you guys. That's crazy. Only works when everyone engages in good faith. Is the dude doing fentanyl and smearing shit all over the walls? Is that guy engaging in good faith? Is he? Like, this bitch shouldn't have to file paperwork and shit to prove. She should just be able to take a picture of it to prove the fact that there's shit in fucking fentanyl needles littering her apartment building. That's crazy. I would be fuming mad. I would be so mad. And it's just such a cunty response too, being like well, you have to fill out this form and then this form to prove that there's fentanyl needles in the carpet. Right? You have to fill out this form to prove that you got hepatitis B from stepping on a needle that was in the hallway. And it's like, bitch, I own the building. I think you forget this fact. I'll just break my contract with you. I'm Jewish, bitch. This bitch's name is Eisenstein. She's got lawyers that know every goddamn loophole in the book. You're not stepping to Eisenstein like that, dude. You cannot out Jew a Jew. That's kind of what they're doing here, being like, oh well, did you fill out your paperwork? Did you fill it out? This is a true Jew battle that we're looking at here. A true battle. between a nonprofit that's definitely embezzling all the funds they get from the state and a fucking landlord. This is the clash of the titans. This is going to be beautiful to watch. So, however, Eisenstein says she sent many emails, phone calls, and even invited CEDP to the property to review surveillance video from cameras she had installed to document safety risks posed by their clients. I was hoping for a partnership, and what I've experienced from their emails is just a denial of what we're seeing. She literally told them, get your fat ass in the car and drive down here. Get in your fucking Prius with 97 bumper stickers and come down here and look at the fucking poop cave painting that is caked on the wall in this apartment. And they're just like, no, you have to fill out a form first. God, I hate bureaucracy. So we spoke with several tenants who asked to keep their identities concealed. All expressed concern for their safety living next to tenants placed by CEDP. We would have people knocking and jiggling our door handle over the summer. It was really bad, said one tenant. It's been a lot of like noise issues and complaints, definitely domestic violence. We've called the police on them a few times. God. I did not know Colorado was like this though, or Denver specifically. I've been to Denver before and it didn't strike me as like a super like Portland, San Francisco type of thing, but maybe every major city's like this. I don't know, maybe Kansas City's like this too. But I would just imagine like outside of like Portland and San Francisco and Seattle, the second you see a needle, you're like, get the fuck out of here, go sleep on the street again. And honestly, she could have done that. This lady's doing way more than she needs to. She could just kick these motherfuckers out, change the locks, and be like, go sleep on the goddamn street. Right? And these people are on like meth and fentanyl and shit. They're not, they don't care that much about having an apartment to stay in. They only care about meth and fentanyl. This lady's doing way, she's being way nicer than she needs to be. So Eisenstein also shared documents with CBS Colorado showing multiple apartments with CEDP clients who tested positive for meth during a preliminary assessment after they moved out. The cost for testing and remediation, she says, is tens of thousands of dollars per unit. We have to take the building down to the studs, and then that just takes apartments off the market. Out of the 5 units that had CEDP clients in them, 2 remain. However, Eisenstein says one is under active eviction for suspected drug use, noise violation, and unauthorized guests. And here's the thing about the people who want to house drug addicts and stuff like that. It's always just going to end up being a prison, right? That's what it comes down to. They don't want to put people in prison because of the fact that the prison system is awful, but all of their solutions ultimately come down to being a prison, right? Like you ask these people, you're like, how do we house the homeless people? They're like, put them in a house. And it's like, well, how do we know they're not just going to keep doing fentanyl and meth and all that stuff? Well, we're going to test them and they're going to have to go to like, group sessions and we're going to have counselors and all that stuff. And it's like, but what about the ones who have, a history of violence and all that stuff? And it's like, oh, we're going to have armed guards. And it's like, well, how are you going to make sure that these people aren't, passing piss tests through the wall and stuff to fake a clean test or whatever? And it's like, oh, we're going to put up a fence. And it's like, that's just, prison is the only answer for these people. And I get it, the prison system in this country does suck, but if a motherfucker's rotting in the street from doing fentanyl, putting him in prison isn't any worse of a situation, right? Even using him for forced labor or whatever is better than the situation he's in. Like, I understand this is America, gotta have liberty and all that stuff, but you can't you can't shit on the street and shoot up so much fentanyl that your arm falls off your body. I'll draw the line there. I'll make the controversial statement and I'll draw the line there. Just throw him in prison. Yeah. It fucking sucks for that lady, dude. Is what it is, though. Alright. Well, I got more done than I thought I would get done. Like I said, episode that's coming out, hopefully, I'm gonna try to get a full night's sleep and eat good and maybe have something with some caffeine before I do that episode, because I put a lot of effort into it, just making the narrative and all that stuff, and So yeah, that's gonna be coming out on Monday. Should be pretty good. I don't know. I hope if anyone is listening, please comment and tell me if that episode is good or not. But I hope you guys have a good day, a good week, a good year, a good life. Take some laxatives. All right. Peace.